Hello, everybody. Going live for Tuesday Talks today, and I am going live with an amazing soul called Ray. She's an amazing speaking coach, and she helps you eliminate fear of speaking up. I would love to speak more about that and find out what is happening with that and how we can do it.
Hello.
Hello, Ray. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm amazing. Thank you very much for joining on Tuesday Talks.
Thank you for having me. We actually planned this like more than a month ago, actually. And here we are.
Yes, that's
from different
correct.
parts of the world.
Yes, different parts of the world, right? So for me, it's just becoming midday, and for you, it's already evening, right?
It is. It's just before dinner, 7 p.m.
Wow. So yeah, two different parts of the world.
And I'm guessing our audience is from different parts of the world as well. Let us know where you're from. I love how this virtual world thingy allows us to connect even if we're like countries apart. So it's nice to meet you as well. This is my first time meeting you, Zishan.
Same
and
here.
I need to ask you, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes, no, it's correct. Yeah, Zishan.
Okay.
It's the right way to do
Zishan.
it. Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah. It's not a big deal anyway. I mean, a lot of people get my name wrong sometime here and there, so it's not a big deal.
Which is exactly why I want to get it right.
That's good. Thank you very much. No, so I've done your introduction, a short introduction anyway, but you're the best person to introduce yourself. And when you're doing that, just let us know what you do and why you do it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I heard your introduction about me and it just made me smile, made my day. Thank you so much for the sweet introduction. I'm Ray. I'm your speaking coach. Basically, people work with me to eliminate fear of speaking up so that they can own your voice in their workplace, in your business, and in life. Right? So today I think we'll talk about owning our voice a lot, but just a gist of what it really is. I think what own your voice means is that you use your voice with so much power from within, and you're not afraid to use your voice to speak up and share your message. That's what own your voice is. Yeah, so that's what I do. How did I start my business? It is a very, very long story. But to share a snippet, I'm sure we'll go into it later on. Years ago, I'm not this confident girl that you see on screen. In fact, I would usually hide in the background, and people will have to come and speak to me, and then I would yes, or whisper, So I was just really, really shy, and I had a lot to say, but I didn't think that anything that I wanted to say was worthy because I didn't do very well in my studies. I didn't feel like I was worth people's time. I had very, very low self-image back then. So I wouldn't want to speak up, and I always felt like I was wasting people's time. So it really took a lot of inner work, a lot of coaches and mentors in my life, and also a lot of taking action in a safe environment before going out there and risking the fear of embarrassment and taking action on stage outside for me to become the person that I am today. And I just don't ever want anybody out there to walk into a room feeling like they don't matter and feeling like their voice is worthless, which is why I do what I do today, because I hope that nobody has ever hide their voice. Yeah.
That is so amazing, and thank you very much for sharing that snippet as well. So amazing. I mean, coming from myself as an introvert growing up, I was a very shy person, being in the back of the classroom. I want to be as far away from the teacher or as far away from the speaking thing anyway. I don't want to stand up and read my book. I don't want to stand up and talk about my homework, coming from the school background or in the group of friends. I want to be just the one who's not, having my say. Everybody will suggest some things to do and I'll be like, yeah, just go along with it. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Let's just do that. And it's good to then hear your perspective behind it as well. So from my perspective, what I did was at a certain age, I kind of started to mingle in to the friends that were, I would say, I wanted to be like. For me, that was the thing, right? So I found a common ground that I was able to do. for me, it was a little bit of a hard work at the beginning because I had to do research. And, you know, thanks to internet that came along, I was able to catch up, you know, so what these people are talking about, what is this? All right, okay, quick look. And, you know, so I was able to catch up on those things. So thanks to internet, I was able to do my background research. So you can say, you know, I'm one of those geeky nerds who like to know things before now. And now I know things, a lot of more things that I can now fit into any group that I wanted to, right? And talk about stuff. And I think this is where I was, because I would find myself thinking that, oh, I have nothing interesting to say because, oh, I do not know more about what's being talked about here. You know, I might know some, but then I would say, well, they're talking all these amazing things. My thing has no value anymore now, right? And so, and that's for. But then I found a way to myself have been on the fence of being introvert and extrovert, and that's what I am now. I'm always on the fence of, so I go with the room. So initially, I'm still a quiet person. So if I find myself in a quiet place, that's the best place for me. Even if the room is busy and I get to be quietly in the corner, I would love that. But if the room needs my interaction, I am at the front there interacting with the room. And that's I always say thanks to internet, because it allows me to do my research, allows me to prepare, allows me to be there before anything else, right? And helps me be introvert and extrovert. I mean, I love speaking. It's a funny story that I also, being an introvert, I always wanted to be, you know, I've been a musician, I've been in several bands. And
wow.
Once I've
I
been on
used
the
to sing
stage.
too. I used to perform. Yeah.
Oh, singing, it is even worse than, you know, it's big event, right? Because if you can't speak and now you have to sing in front of so many people. Whereas me, I mean, I played guitar, bass, and keyboards and stuff like that. So I was more of a musician. I can still get away with just being quiet and showcase my talent, right? But once on stage, I used to have a different personality. Once off stage, people would be like, is this the same Zishan we just saw on the stage, you know, going crazy? And then off stage, I'm like, yeah, quiet down, and I'm talking calmly with everyone. How are you doing, guys? Like this. So that's the way I found my ability to like showcase everything out there, and I was able to do this. I used to be the quiet person as well, you know, talking like, hi, how are you doing? And you can't, yeah, it's okay. And they'd be like, what?
But it's good that people even ask you like, what? Because sometimes I feel like, I don't know if anybody is watching actually ever went through this. You could be walking into a room and nobody just bothers about you. Nobody even bothers to ask you what's your name, or, hey, you know, you look new here, how are you? If you go into the corporate world and if you're really, really quiet, you could be in a company where just nobody's going to listen to you unless you speak up. So it's like by luck, right? If like, let's say you're really quiet and nobody asks you to share your opinion, then your opinion will never be heard. So I think that it's very important to find that power from within and to find your voice and speak up, even if nobody asks you for your opinion. Because I mean, nobody's gonna like, hey, you know, do you want to speak? Like sometimes you're just gonna raise your hand and say something if you want to say something, right? And I think one thing that, one point that you brought up was amazing, which is like with the internet, we can now research everything, and there is no more excuse of I don't know what to say, because you can read news, you know, you can catch up on whatever new stuff is happening through Twitter, through Instagram. And one thing that I love to do is when I meet new people, whether it's mentors or if it's just a peer, I will try to stalk them on LinkedIn, you know, and find out what they do, find out if they have written any articles or anything. So those can be used as conversation starters. But one thing that I think I could bring up and we could, you know, converse about this is how do we know what are the topics and what are the interests that, you know, is genuinely our interest, like it's natural to us? Because if let's say we read everything out there on the internet and we try to fit in and, you know, speak whatever the main group is speaking, what may happen is that we end up not knowing what we really like to speak about. You know what I mean? It's like you're trying to fit into speaking with, you know, the tech people, so you go and read up on some tech news, and then this other group likes talking about investments, then you read up about investment news, and then after a while you're like, actually, what do I really like to talk about? And I feel like sometimes that could be the problem. Do you feel? Do you feel like that may be a problem?
I can see the problem in that. Yes, I mean, if for example, you know, for myself, right, I am passionate about all things which are, you know, tech, especially that you mentioned tech and, you know, financing and investment. So I have that passion. So for me, doing those research, it would be, you know, part of my thing anyway. But I can see that if there is a person who has a particular niche interest and then nothing else, so that would particularly come to networking side of things, right? I am a big believer in networking, because networking is an amazing thing that, I mean, expands your region and your connections that you have around the globe, right? Like how we are connected now. We didn't know each other before this, and I came across your page, and I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. That just popped up in my feed, and then I, like yourself, I stalked you for a few bits. I looked. I'm like, okay, you are doing talks as well. That's great. I think this is inspiring. So it needs to come to Tuesday Talk. So I get, I will, you know, I would say that it just depends on the person as well. What is their motive at the end of connecting to that person or that group, right?
Yeah, there always needs to be an objective. You're so right.
Exactly. So we have to have that objective of what you actually want to do at the end, and what's your end goal to achieve, and then obviously pursue that. If that needs connecting with all these people, then obviously you would need to have that and have your common goal in the middle. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that the principle that I stick to is when you're talking about networking and broadening your knowledge, right? It's just coming from a place of pure curiosity, right? And coming from a place of pure curiosity when speaking to someone, not feeling like you need to know everything. I feel like sometimes people are too concerned over, oh, what if I don't know enough to be part of this conversation? But why not think about it as, hey, I'm part of this conversation just to share my opinion if I have one. If not, I can ask questions and learn. And asking questions may even facilitate the depth of this conversation. And sometimes your presence is enough. You don't need to know everything in order to engage in a conversation. So for me, I used to be really afraid of not knowing enough to converse, and I'll get especially intimidated when I'm talking to people that earn more money than me or that are prettier than me. Basically all my insecurities, right? Who are like maybe they have a nicer accent like you, right? Like yourself. Or like something that makes me insecure. I'll feel really insecure speaking to them. But when I switched my perspective of I am a lifelong learner and I'm going to go into this conversation with a pure curiosity to learn about this person and to just be present in this conversation, that actually made conversations with people way more comfortable and enjoyable. And it allows me to form better relationships and connections as well. Yeah, and I realized that through this process that people that I think are cooler than me are actually just human. We're all cool.
I would agree with that 100%, and I'll just touch upon that. You know, it's a condition that we all go through anyway. I mean, I'm not the tallest person out there, right? And being in UK, I'm just an average height person for my ethnicity, right? So I'm not even tallest within my ethnicity. I'm just an average height. But so that's what I suffer from a lot of time. Like if I find someone who is taller than me, you know, I kind of go in my shell, right? For not straight away, but if I'll try to speak and everything. But then if I come across that, oh, I feel that they know more than me in terms of, okay, they are more articulate, and then I will try to go in my shell, or my conversation will become less. And I've noticed that with myself, but then it's something that I notice. So I notice things that I do throughout the day. I take that time out to reflect on my day. So I noticed that, okay, if there are any people who are taller than me, I kind of went, oh, okay, you know, if I have to look up to speak to you, then it's kind of like my body is already closing me down. It's like, oh, you know, you can't speak a lot. They might know a lot more, and they're tall. They like, superior to you already, right? So that kind of complexion that you get. So complexion would be the right word, and the complexity behind that. But I've overcome those things, and quite a few friends have also noticed that if we are outside standing together, and if I find something to stand on, which makes me a little bit higher, by default, without me knowing, I would be standing on the ledge of something, right? So if we will be standing on plain thing, if there is some stool in the corner, I'll be standing on that. If there is a pavement which is higher, I'll be standing on the higher pavement. So I've been doing that by default. And then he was like, why are you always standing on something rather than just be like, oh, I never even noticed. So there's something there. And I guess, I suppose this is why my body is a mechanism of doing things so that I just feel I am able to do things that I'm able to do, right? So I can converse, I can do so. So I wanted to touch upon your post that you did, how to speak to literally anyone without feeling small. Because I suppose I can feel that this subject should be what you just mentioned earlier would be the one, right? Because that's how I feel when, I took it as a literal height thing, which then makes me feel all the rest, right? So if you could just explain a little bit more on that, your recent post that you talked about, and what brought that about.
Yeah, sure. So, that's a great post that you just, I'm saying great post, but a great point that you just brought up, because I feel like all of us at one point in our life, we were felt small when talking to someone. And the reason why I wanted to put that post out is because I feel like the questions that I put in this post will allow anybody that uses this as a little guide to self-coach yourself in like 5 to 10 minutes so that you will logically be able to see that you have value to give and there's no reason to feel small. Because how do we feel confident? How do we be confident? It's like confidence feels so intangible, like this idea of confidence. But actually feeling good about yourself and feeling confident requires very tangible steps every single day. It's the consistent tangible steps. How do we do it? Well, in the post, I gave a couple of questions that you could ask yourself, right? If you feel small while talking to someone, the first question is to find out why. Like, why do you feel small? And asking the question why is so important and very underdone, I feel, because when we feel a negative feeling, I think a lot of us, we tend to wanna forget about it. Like, oh, I feel bad. You know what? Let me just stop thinking about it. Let me do something else. Like maybe let me watch some Netflix or play some games so that I forget about this negative feeling. But when we do that, we don't allow ourselves to understand why we feel that negative feeling. And this will cause us to be prone to that negative feeling again. It's going to come up. The universe is going to send you challenges that you have not overcome. It's like playing a video game. If you have not overcome level 1, you can't go to level 2. So you will most probably feel that negative feeling because you haven't learned how to deal with it. So it's very important to ask yourself, like, why do I feel small? So last time I used to feel really small around people that earn more money than me, right? And I asked myself, why do I feel small? Because the reason why I felt small back then was because them earning more money than me, especially if they were my age, made me feel like I'm not valued and I'm not valuable. It made me feel like basically I was tying the amount that I make to my self-worth. Right? If I earn less, it shows that I'm less capable. It shows that I'm less smart. It shows that I'm less valuable. So then you ask, why is that the case? Right? And then you dig deeper and dig deeper. And right now, I now know that I was basically, brought up in an environment where society pits us against other people, and the credential and what's that word? The credential that we're used to. Is that a credential? Is that the word credential? Basically, society measures our worth based on the money we make. That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And in the Asian society, I feel. So we'll always be compared in terms of, how much money you make, what is the stuff, the branded bags that you're wearing, what's your grades. And even though it may not be explicitly said, it's said. It's like, how much money does that guy make? You're dating this guy, how much money does he make? Right? It's like the stuff that you speak that make you feel like you need to earn more. You need to show people that you do well in order to be celebrated, in order to be accepted. which is why I compared myself with others who earn more than me. So now I know. Why do you feel small? It's very important to ask yourself why. Yeah, so for all of you that are listening now, if you ever feel a negative feeling, it may not be feeling small. It could be, comparing yourself with someone else. It could be feeling really worthless after you're rejected by a girl or a guy, right? Ask yourself why. Why do you feel that way? Right? Because when you understand your feeling, you're better able to deal with it after that. So after you ask yourself, why do you feel small? You want to ask yourself, is it really true that I lack this thing that I think I lack? Right? Like, for example, me feeling like I am not valued if, let's say, I earn less money than my friend. So I'm going to ask myself, okay, logically, is that true? Like, does me not earning more money than her equals I am worthless? Like, equals that my value is like lower? Like, does this logically make sense? So then you got to find evidence, right? Like, how does this not make sense? You got to talk yourself through this. Why does this not make sense? What is the evidence that proves that this does not make sense? And you most probably be able to find something in your life, right? Like, how am I valued? Hey, let me think about it. Well, people in my life have shown me that they appreciate me. And I have friends around me that have told me that me just talking to them and giving advice to them has helped them a lot. That is evidence that I am valued. Like, if I am not valued, I'll have no friends, right? So you got to tell yourself this logical evidence and, take a journal, write it down, and you come to realize that, wow, actually I have value. Like, logically I do. In my job, I mean, for me to even earn some money shows that I have value. Like, you'll find so many other reasons. My family loves me for who I am. I don't have to work hard for their love. That shows that I'm valued, So when you tell your brain that, okay, help me find evidence to show that I'm valued, to show that I'm worthy, your brain will automatically go and find that evidence that you are valued and you are worthy. Sometimes we're just going to talk to our brain. Instead of telling our brain, oh my God, I suck, ask your brain, I want to feel like I'm already valued. Please tell me evidence, show me evidence, help me remember the incidents that prove to me that I'm really valued. And you are basically telling your brain to go to work and find those things that make you feel like you're valued. Yeah, so that's the first two questions. You can find the other two questions in my post, but I feel like these two questions itself already help you manage your thoughts, and that is everything. Like, if let's say your thoughts are extremely negative, that you're gonna not take action, or even if you do take action, it's gonna come off with some negative energy or negative vibe. Yeah, so that's why it's very important to understand our feelings better, whether it is fear of speaking up, whether it is fear of approaching someone at work, whether it's fear of raising your hand to talk in the middle of a Zoom meeting and unmuting. Ask yourself why. Instead of running away from it, ask yourself, why do I feel this fear? Why am I choosing to run away? Why do I fear rejection and failure, etc.? And when you learn how to ask the powerful questions and then understand why you are so afraid of something, whether it's a presentation or whether it's talking to your boss, etc., then you'll be able to deal with the root problem better.
I love that, and it's such an amazing way of putting it through as well. You touched upon something to do with the mindset, right? A lot, and so and it's surprising that that's the strongest. That's the hardworking and strongest muscle in all our body, and nobody is actually looking after it. Because they go around and want to have six packs, want to have muscles, have that summer beach body and everything. But nobody is looking to work out the brain, because that's the one who is actually functioning the whole body and doing everything. And I wanted to also touch on is because of what you feed your mind, that's what it's going to portray what you see as well. The world we are seeing around us is exactly what we are telling our mind it is. It's not different to anything else. I use my example, and I love the way you've also touched upon games, because I touch upon games as well as gaming world, and you can never go into a different level until you finish the level you're on. So if you're stuck on level 1, you're always going to be stuck on level 1. You either give up, stop playing, move on to the next game, or you practice and defeat that level, overcome it, and then go on to the next level. But that only happens if you are persistent and you're feeding your brain and the mindset how to overcome that obstacle, right? And that's an amazing question. So why am I not able to overcome it? Let me see why it's happening, right? And that's what you do when you're playing the game. Why is this happening? Oh, let me see the pattern. Is there a pattern in this game, right? This always happens when I come to this point, and which usually happens, right? And your life is the same. At a certain point in life, the life will do the same thing, whether this is now or 10 years from now or 5 years from now or maybe tomorrow. If you're at the same point, it will always repeat that stuff. Why they say history repeats itself? Because you are going in a circle. It will at one point come back to where you were before, and you need to overcome that obstacle again, right? So if you chose to do something else, you will come through that obstacle again in that second thing that you are trying to do now, and then you have to overcome that to level yourself up as well and have a better lifestyle. So maybe that would be to speak, right? So in your case, so that would be that you need to speak. Then you decided, oh no, I cannot do this speaking. I'm going to do something else where I do not need to speak. But then once you start doing something else, there will come a time where you need to speak up, because you are now being not valued, as we were saying. You're not being valued, or people are taking let's say a lot of they're not letting you do what you need to do. So let's say they're abusing your authority that you have at work, for example. You're not able to do a lot of stuff, so you're getting undermined. But you're gonna get, so now it's the same situation that you had previously. You're supposed to speak and unmute your mic in the Zoom, but you didn't do that. You chose, no, I can carry on with this. Maybe let's say you change your path, but now you're being undermined in this situation. You're put back again. So universe has brought you back again. It's saying to you, you need to speak, you need to talk. And you're like, oh no, what do I do here? You cannot just keep dodging what you need to do. That obstacle will keep coming up to you, right? Because I love driving. So it's the case of like driving. You can either take a longer route, which has lots of traffic, but you will reach there with a loss of pain. Or you have a shorter route, but it has speed bumps on it. So, roundabouts, a speed bump, you can take that, but you will get there earlier because you've taken the same route. Or you can take another route, which has both, right? So, and then you're still suffering, right? But there's no other way around to get to your final destination. You have to do it, right? The choice is yours. So at the end is the choices we make. I always say that it's the choice that we make today, it affects our tomorrow. And that's where you need to think of it. Okay, especially the people who say it's no, I have no choice in this. I had no decision in that. You had it. I argue with those people in terms of debating and said, no, you always had a choice. You always had something to say about it. You just chose not to talk about it that time. You just chose to decide something else, and you did it that way. And that's what you are here.
Which is why it's important to remember that we have the power in our hands, and never come from like a victim mentality. Like if something happened to you, something external happens, you lose your job or something terrible happens, well, you have the decision. I mean, of course, we got to acknowledge our feelings, and it's okay to whine a little bit and rant a little bit, but it is your choice if you want to continue whining and ranting for the rest of your life, as opposed to doing it for a good week and eating some ice cream and then deciding that you're gonna choose the next step. So you always have the choice, as you mentioned, and it's important to realize that we have that, because otherwise we will feel so powerless, right? But remembering that you have the power to take any sort of action and to change your mindset is so powerful. Which is actually why whenever I coach my clients, I always bring them through a 3-step process. Actually, not really 3 steps. I would say 3 pillars, because they happen at once. But, even though I'm like a speaking coach, I don't just teach techniques, because most of the time, it is not the techniques that people need, but it is the perspective and the change in mindset that they require. So I first start with rewiring their beliefs. So rewiring the beliefs that don't serve them, like I'm not good enough, my values, I have no value, my story doesn't matter. These are limiting beliefs that are stopping them from speaking up. So we first need to start with rewiring those beliefs, which is R. And then we move on to awakening their authentic self. So I help them find out what makes their life, their brand, their voice, and their story unique. So whenever they talk to people, they know that they have something worthy and unique to offer. And when they find their unique voice, they will never compare themselves because they realize that there's no form of comparison there, because you're basically comparing an apple and a pear. And that's A. And then the last pillar is E, which is embody. So embodying your unique voice with by mastering the techniques of networking, of presentation skills, etc. This is where all the techniques come in. So if you remember, R-A and E actually spells my name, Ray. R-A-E is the 3 pillars. And those 3 pillars come all together to really help people own their voice. So they don't just speak better at work, but they speak with power and conviction even at home, in their relationships, when they're drawing boundaries with their friends, when they're speaking up to their colleagues or their boss, you know, to treat them with respect, right? All these things require you to own your voice, and that will only happen when we rewire your beliefs, awaken your authentic self, and then embody your unique voice. So I mean, I'm sure even for yourself, right, when you coach on business and mindset, like many of the times people know what they need to do, but they're not doing it because something is stopping them. And we got to find out as a coach, what is that thing that's stopping them, and guide them through to discover the solution that they need to do, and then guide them through it and make them feel safe to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you're 100% right. You have to dig deeper and do some inner work with them. So, you know, being a business and a mindset coach, my work more happens on the mindset rather than the business, because the business looks after itself once you have the correct mindset and that you're working with. So you're like yourself, I've got 4 pillars that I work with, and those 4 pillars take them through the journey of finding out, you know, at the end is what's important to them and why are they in that business. To begin with, because a lot of people get into the business for the wrong reasons, money being the first one, which is the short-term goal, where then I get them to refocus at a longer-term goal, so the business is sustainable rather than just generating some money now. Because if you're just short-term with money, that just dries up quicker, and then you have no business after that once the people have moved on and don't actually require what you're selling. So you're out of business again. So you need to be long-term sustainability, and so we work on all those things, but that comes with a mindset of how to do that. So switching from employee mindset to entrepreneurial mindset, because being an employee, even though you become an entrepreneur, people are still thinking like an employee, that everything should be ready for us. You know, I should just jump in and, you know, I should be starting getting paid straight away. You might not even see a first payment for your first 6 months, for example, you know, as an entrepreneur. And that's
right, which is exactly why like perspective is so important. And perspective is something that a coach and a mentor can give you, that Google and YouTube can't. Yeah, and it's so important to surround yourself with people that are achieving things that you haven't achieved, because they show you what is possible, and when they see potential in you before you even see it in yourself, that is what will really give you that lift to go and do it. Yeah, so that's something that I always recommend people to do, is to hang around people that uplift you and that make you feel like you can do it, like that, and make you feel like you believe in yourself. Yeah, and that's what a coach is for, essentially, right? Is being able to guide you towards success, like nudging you there, because ultimately you don't know what you don't know. You need to find someone that is able to help you see the blind spots that you couldn't see before.
No, I agree 100% agree. You know, like the sports athlete and all them, they need coaches as well, even though they are the best at what they do, right? The Olympians, they have coaches as well, right? They don't just appear out of there, oh yeah, I'm an Olympian now, I'm going to compete in the Olympics. They don't just do that, because if you were to do that, you know, you don't know your own blind spots. You don't know, you might know your strength and ability, but you do not know how far can that go from a person who's looking from outside in, can help you and take you further. And having the experience being athlete for a past, you can able to do that. So I wanted to quickly ask you, we should be wrapping up soon as well. So quickly ask you your routine of, you know, what drives you. So what's the perfect routine? Do you have a perfect routine in the morning, like when you wake up? What's the mindset for the day? How does that go for you?
Sure. And meanwhile, I guess after this, if you have any questions, you can just drop it in the question box and we will answer maybe one or two questions. So morning routine wise, in the morning, I wake up. After I brush my teeth, I get coffee and I drink a protein shake. As I heard that having protein instead of carbs in the morning gives you the energy boost, and it has worked for me. Makes me full as well, so I won't snack and get distracted when I'm snacking. Then I will light a candle up. So I have like a candle beside me. So I light up a candle. I take out my journal and I play on some meditative music, and I will start writing down how I feel that day. So I'll just write it down, and if it's a negative feeling, I'll ask myself, why am I feeling this negative feeling and what can I do about it, right? And now I'll write down one thing that I'm grateful for that day, and I'll also write down what are my top three tasks for the day, okay? And then I also write down what's my intention for the day, like how do I want to live today? So that's 4 things already, right? 4 things already, and then I will meditate for a bit, like a few minutes. I usually cannot do it more than 5 minutes because I get really bored. So I know people say like if you get bored while meditating, you should meditate longer, but I'm trying to make my routine easy so that I actually stick to it. So I meditate for 2 to 3 minutes, and I basically pray while meditating. I just talk to God. And then I start my day. That's how it works. I just make sure that whatever I do in my morning routine makes me start my day with a peace of mind, and it makes me feel happy when I start my day. And then at night, I will do like a night routine where I write down 3 wins for the night. Like what are 3 things that I feel I did well? What's one thing that I feel I could have improved on so that I improve on the next day? And then I go to sleep. That's my morning and night routine.
That is amazing. Yeah, I was going to ask you about the end of the day routine as well, which you already answered. That's amazing to then start your day with an intention of what you want the day to be like. And if you wake up, which people call it a wrong side of the bed, so you're feeling sad or feeling like rubbish. So why you're feeling that, to take note of that and try to work that way through it, because it's good to know how you feel in the morning, and that's how your rest of the day will be. But if you're working on it straight away, so
you're
that
right.
would be
Exactly.
great.
Well, one thing that I just wanted to add on real quick for the last part is it's very important to start the day with a broader picture of your life and what you want to achieve in life before narrowing it down to what you want to do on that day. So many at times, right, we get out of bed. I mean, a lot of people that I talk to, right, I know they just get out of bed and then they go straight into like replying their emails and do the task of the day. But when you do that, you are so focused and narrow. It causes you to be so narrow-minded because you only think about the urgent task of the day, and you lose sight of your bigger picture, which is what you want to achieve in your life, right? So what may happen is that a month pass, a year pass, and you realize that, oh my goodness, I've just been soaking in work and I don't even know what other things I've been doing in my life. It's just work, 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 and work, and I feel so like unfulfilled and uninspired. So to prevent that from happening, we got to always remind ourselves, okay, what do I want to achieve in life? Like, what are my end goals? Things that I want to achieve in my life. Like, for example, I want to bring my parents to travel over Europe, or I want to like reach a point in my life where I can, build orphanages around the world. I mean, it doesn't have to be something big. It could be something as simple as, in my lifetime, I want to be able to have kids and be able to spend time with them. So when you remind yourself of the bigger goals you have in life, right when you start your day, it makes you feel inspired starting the day, and it reminds you of what your life purpose is, so that you will not be so obsessed with the minute things that you have to do, like, oh, I need to reply this email, I need to do this, I need to do that. After you start your day with a broadness of vision, then you go narrow and ask yourself, what are my top 3 tasks for the day? And it's good to remind yourself how these top 3 tasks allow you to eventually fulfill your bigger dreams and goals as well. So that essentially allows you to stay inspired while still being productive in the day. So you want to start with a broad vision and then go narrow.
That's actually a very brilliant way of putting through the day, and it brings me to one question that I would like to ask now is, so when you're doing the top 3 tasks of the day, you're making that so to say list. How do you now get an idea of that list, do you think that list should be something which you're finding difficult to do? Do them three first, you know, because obviously you might be doing more than three. So top three would be like, this is the most difficult part, you know, this is where I end up procrastinating a lot. So I want to do this, or, you know, or start with the stuff which is easier.
Well, so before you even know what you want to do for the day, I think every month you first need to start planning your goals for the month first, right? Like you have like quarterly goals and then you have monthly goals. So you got to find a time to start planning out for your business. What do I want to achieve this year? Or if you can't think of a year, then maybe you can start with what I want to achieve this quarter or what needs to be achieved. Whether it's like you're going to focus on sales or do you want to grow your brand. I mean, you're going to find what are the objectives that you want for that particular quarter, right? So with that quarter, then you break it down into months, like what do I want to achieve monthly? And then after monthly, is easier for you to then allocate time weekly. So then every week you have like 3 to 5 major tasks that you need to do this week, whether it's branding related or delivery related or sales related. And with those goals for the week, you're then able to allocate it for the day. So I feel like it's important to then again have that yearly or quarterly goal in mind and then break it down into steps. So it's easier to then think of what the tasks are for the day. So when you do that, then of course, if let's say today I have to do tasks like 5 tasks, then I rank it in order of which one takes my most creative energy, right? If it takes my most creative energy, it requires me to think a lot, then I'll do it in the morning. If it's like very small, minute admin tasks, I'll do it in the afternoon when I'm very, very tired, because usually at 4 p.m. you feel like sleeping. So you do like more minute tasks then. Usually I talk to people like at 5, 6 p.m. because when I talk to people, my energy immediately goes up. So I know that I don't need energy because I just naturally get energy when I talk to people. So it's important to understand yourself and know which tasks take the most energy out of you, and then complete the tasks that take the most energy out of you first thing in the morning. Those tasks that doesn't take much energy out of you, do it at night, right? So in anything, even in speaking, you always want to start with broadness of vision and then go narrow. You want to find out what your general objectives are when you're doing this presentation, and then you write your script. It's like for all things that we do in life, it's important to have a bigger picture before we drill down to the specifics. Yeah.
I love that. And thank you very much for expanding onto that as well. So have you got something coming up that you would love to share with the audience listening and watching us now, or your program or anything like that, or how they can?
Sure, yes, I would love to. Yeah, thanks for having me, by the way. It was really fun today. So I actually just closed applications for my upcoming group program, but I'll share a little bit more about it, right? Essentially, I'm having a group program coming up. It's called the Own Your Voice Transformation Circle that runs for 6 months. So it will be in this cozy little community where all of us will learn how to own our voice. It's super, a lot of accountability, extremely easy to fit into your busy schedule because all you need is a minimum of 15 minutes a day. And by the end of 6 months, you're guaranteed to own your voice better than when you first started. So even though I've technically closed applications, right? If let's say you really, today you decide that, hey, this month is the month that I want to own my voice, then drop me a DM because we start next week. So there's still a little bit of time. If you want to find out a little bit more, just drop me a DM. I'll send you the post that actually have all the details. But essentially it's for you if you're sick of hiding away your voice. You're sick of walking into your workplace and being afraid to speak up. You're so sick of wanting to ask that girl or guy out, but you've just been not doing it because you feel like you're not good enough, right? And if you want to start feeling good enough and start feeling like you love yourself this year, then this program is for you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I just need to mention that today's date is 17th of August, 2021. Just because this will one day be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if the people are listening to it later today, you can still reach out to Ray for that time. If you could just mention your handle, please.
Yeah, sure. My handle is at Ray Matrix on Instagram, RAEMATRIX. So my Own Your Voice Transformation Circle, I will be opening slots for it. There's like slots opening every month or every once in 2 months. I'm still deciding how often I want to open it up. So just drop me a message anytime, and if you just want to chat as well, if you want to ask me any speaking or life related questions, drop me a DM as well.
Right. Thank you very much for all that. And thank you very much for appearing on the Tuesday Talks as well. So one final thing, that if you could close the show with a quote that obviously is driving you every day, and you would say, okay, this is what the world should know. What's the quote that drives you?
The quote that drives me every day is, if it's meant to be yours, it will be yours.
Amazing.
Don't fret too much.
That is great. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to give a quick smile for a couple of seconds so that becomes a screenshot. Thank you. And now that would be, we're going to say thank you very much for everybody who's joined in for Tuesday Talks. Follow Ray if you don't yet. If you just joined in recently, I would say rewind and watch this again, because it will be on IGTV. There was lots and lots of amazing golden nuggets being shared. And if you find this inspiring, it's your duty now to share this with others, because you don't know who's woken up this morning and is there something better in life than what I have now. And this episode might just help. We never know. So if you found it inspiring, it's our duty to share it with others as well. So please share it and do our duty as well. So thank you very much. And we will see you next Tuesday with another amazing entrepreneur themselves as well. Thank you very much, Ray, as well. Bye-bye.
No problem. It's nice meeting all of you. I hope to talk to you guys soon in my DMs. And thanks, Ishan. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.